Invocation. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. So we're reading from Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita by Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami. Translations and purports by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Prachardane Nirvashesha Shunyavadi Paschachade Shatarane. So yesterday we were talking about Srimati Radharani's love and how inconceivable and overpowering it is to Krishna, and how Krishna is hankering to experience what it is like to feel that love for him, the way Radharani feels it. So we are hearing some very delightful descriptions about how Srimati Radharani's love is Krishna's dance teacher, right? And Krishna's down at the bank of Radhakund learning dancing from who? From Srimati Radharani. So her love is so moving that it literally moves him to dance, and he dances according to its direction. So we left off on text 128, right?
125.
No, we read past that because we read that little conversation. 126 says, whatever pleasure I get from tasting my love for Srimati Radharani, she tastes 10 million times more. We read that. Yeah. So, and we're still, okay, let's do 127 then. Ami yache paraspara virudha dharma shraya radha prema tache sada virudha dharma maya.
Characteristics. So Radha's love is always full of similar contradictions.
Yeah. What are some of Krishna's contradictions? Krishna's full of contradictions.
That Krishna is full, but still he wants to, I guess,
Any contradiction in Krishna?
he is only the Lord and he is also the devotee.
Okay, he's the Lord, but he's also the servant of his devotees.
Yeah. He is all lovable, like he has all the love, but still loved by, still wanted to see how Radharani loves them.
Yeah, so he's the source of everything and the perfection of everything and the supreme absolute truth, nothing that's not him, but still he's missing something. He feels like he's missing out on something. What are some other contradictions that we know of just from general contradictions of Krishna?
He's bound by the love.
Yeah, he's totally free, liberated, but he's bound by the love of his devotees. He's feared by fear personified, and he gives fearlessness to his devotees, but he's afraid of Mother Yashoda chasing him with a stick.
Yes.
He's unborn, and yet he takes birth. So Krishna has a lot of contradictions. And he's saying that Radharani's love is full of similar contradictions. So now we're going to hear about some of the qualities here of Radharani's love. 128. Radha prema vibhuyara badite nahitani tatapi se kshane kshane badaye sadai. Still it is expanding constantly. So here's one contradiction, that it's all pervading. There's not a single speck of space that's not occupied by Radharani's love. There's no room for it to expand, but it's still expanding. That's Radharani's love. Okay, text 129. Yahavai Guru Vastu Nahi Sunishchita Tatapi Guru Dharma Gaurava Varjita.
There is certainly nothing deeper than her love, but her love is devoid of pride. That is the sign of its greatness.
So there's another contradiction that it's the greatest thing, but usually when someone's very great, they'll be proud. Or if something's very great, then it's something to be proud of. But Srimati Radharani's love is the greatest thing in existence, and yet no pride, which makes it even greater. Text 130. Yaha haite sunirmala dvitiya yara tatapi sarvada vamya vakra vyavahara.
Reverse. Okay.
Don't know the contradiction. It's the purest thing, and yet it's perverse and crooked. Who can understand? Okay, text 131. Vibhuyor api kalaya api goravacharya vihina muhurpachita vikramapi shudho jayati muradvishi radikanuragaha.
The enemy of the demon Mura. Although it is all pervading, it tends to increase at every moment. Although it is important, it is devoid of pride. And although it is pure, it is always beset with duplicity.
That's from Rupa Goswami Dana Kali Komudi. So looks like this is where Krishnadas Kaviraj got these points from. He read it in Rupa Goswami's book. Text 132. Se premara Shri Radhika Parama Ashraya Se premara Amihai Kevala Vishaya. Divya 132. You got it there?
Thank you. Yeah, I have it. Sri Radhika is the highest abode of that love, and I am its only object.
So this is Krishna speaking, right? Remember? So he's aware that all of that love is reposed in himself. Text 133. Vishaya Jatiya Sukha Amara Asvara Amahaite Koti Guna Ashraya Hladana. I taste the bliss to which the object of love is entitled, but the pleasure of Radha, the abode of that love, is 10 million times greater. He's saying, yeah, all that love is coming to me, and indeed, I taste the happiness that comes from being loved by such a lover, but the happiness of the lover is 10 million times greater. It's like they say it's better to give than to receive, right? You become more happy by giving than by getting a gift. So Krishna is saying that she's more happy by giving love than I am by receiving her love. Text 134. Ashraya Jatiya Sukha Paite Manadaya Ratne Ashvadite Nariki Kari Upaya.
To taste the pleasure experienced by the above, but I cannot taste it. Even my best efforts, how may I taste it? That's
So
what Krishna thinking.
Krishna is totally frustrated. He's trying to understand the pleasure that she feels by loving him, but he can't. Text 135. Kabu yadi e premara haye ashraya tabe e premanandera anubhava haya.
Sometimes it can be that it's Purport. Vishaya and Ashraya are two different significant words relating to the reciprocation between Krishna and his devotee. The devotee is called the Ashraya, and his beloved Krishna is the Vishaya. Different ingredients are involved in the exchange of love between the Ashraya and Vishaya, which are known as Vibhava, Anubhava, Sattvika, and Vyabhichari. Vibhava is divided into two categories, Alambana and Uddipana. Alambana may be further divided into Ashraya and Vishaya. In the loving affairs of Radha and Krishna, Radharani is the Ashraya feature and Krishna is the Vishaya. The transcendental consciousness of the Lord tells him, I am Krishna and I experience pleasure as the Vishaya. The pleasure enjoyed by Radharani, the Ashraya, is many times greater than the pleasure I feel. Therefore, to feel the pleasure of the Ashraya category, Lord Krishna appeared as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
Hmm. So in class the other day, I was talking about these. So here he's breaking down the different components of rasa, vibhava, anubhava, sattvika, vyabhichari. So vibhava is the stimulus for ecstatic love, and this has two categories, two different kinds of vibhava. There's alambana and udipana. So alambana means the basic cause is that there's a lover and a beloved. Udipana is different. Udipana is different, like stimuli, right? Like you see, you hear Krishna's flute, that's an udipana, or you see a peacock and you remember Krishna, that's an udipana, like things that just stimulate your love for Krishna. But the alambana is like the basic basic stimulus is that Krishna is there and Radha is there and they love each other, right? That's the basic. Without that, you can see if there's no relationship between Radha and Krishna, then you can see as many peacock feathers as you want, hear the flute, nothing's going to happen, right? So the basic connection needs to be there, and then little things stimulate it. So the basic connection in the alambana, there are two different components, the ashraya and the vishaya. So ashraya means the shelter or the abode. Usually in this context, it's translated as the abode of love, and vishaya is the object of love. So the ashraya is the person who possesses the love, who feels the love, who has the love to give, and the vishaya is the one who is receiving the love. So Srimati Radharani is the ashraya, and Krishna is the vishaya. And yeah, it's kind of like, if you think of like a cloud, the cloud would be the ashraya for rain. It's the source, it's the abode, it's like the container that has all the water in it. And then the earth is the vishaya, is the object that receives the rain and then, is nourished and uses it for, vegetation and whatever. So who has more, I guess you could say, who has more love, or who has, like the cloud has more potential for love, and also is kind of like in control, because if the cloud doesn't give water, then what's the earth going to do, right? And all the water comes from the cloud, and sometimes the cloud will dump some rain and move on, right? It won't give all, or it'll stay, you know what I mean? So who has the more water is the cloud. Of course, Radharani gives all her love to Krishna, but maybe she gives it here and there, right? In different ways. And Krishna is totally, the Vishaya is dependent on the Ashraya. Of course, they're interdependent, because without the Vishaya, what is the Ashraya going to do? But objectively speaking, you can say that the object of love is not going to get any love if the Ashraya doesn't have love, right? So, yeah. Krishna is basically saying that in terms of love, Srimati Radharani is in the superior position here, because she is the ashraya. She's the abode of love, and I'm just hoping to get some of it. Yeah. Okay, so the Radharani's capacity to experience love is greater. That's what Krishna is saying, because she has the love. 136. Eta chinti rahe Krishna parama katuki hridaye badaye prema lobha taktaki.
Thinking in this way, Lord Krishna was curious to taste that love. His eager desire for that love increasingly blazed in his heart.
The language is funny, right? Prema lobha ducky. Ducky. And it's blaze like duck. It's like intense, right? It's like an intense word. Blazing in his heart. And kotuki, supremely curious. So thinking this way, eta chinta, thinking like this, Krishna, parama kotuki, he became supremely curious in his heart. Yeah, and what was going on in his heart? That prema loba, eagerness, the greed. Loba means greed. Greed for love, greed to experience, to taste that love, was increasing. Badaya means increasingly blazing in his heart. So that's Krishna's situation. Now, how's he going to solve his problem? Eka shuna ara lobera prakara swamadurya deki Krishna karena vichara. Arjuna?
That is one desire. Now please hear of another. Seeing his own beauty, Lord Krishna began to consider.
Yeah, so that's just one problem Krishna has. Now he has another problem. Let's hear about it. Adbhuta Ananta Purna Mora Madhurima Tri Jagate Ihara Keha Nahi Prayasima.
This is one. Infinite and full. No one in three worlds can find its limit.
So he's thinking, I'm so sweet. I'm so beautiful. No one is more sweet and beautiful than me. E prema dvare nitya radhika ekali amarama duryamrita asvade sakali. Divya?
Only Radhika, by the strength of her love, tastes all the nectar of my sweetness.
Yeah, so it's like, let's say if you're very beautiful, then, most of the time you're not getting joy out of your own beauty because you're not seeing your own face, right? But if you have somebody that's always with you, then they're always just able to look at your face and just gaze into your eyes and notice all your attractive features and appreciate them and be inspired by them, relish them, right? So Krishna's like, he said in the previous verse, yeah, he's seeing his own beauty. He's seeing his own beauty. He's like, wait, what? And my beauty, my sweetness is so wonderful, so infinite, but I can't even get any joy out of it. It's Radharani who's enjoying all this beauty and sweetness of mine. Yadyapi nirmala radhara satprema darpana tatapi swachata tara badhe kshana kshana. Although Radha's love is pure like a mirror, its purity increases at every moment. Amara madhurya nahi badite avakashe edarpanera age nava nava rupe base.
My sweetness also has no room for expansion. Yet it shines before that mirror in newer and newer beauty.
So he's saying that Srimati Radharani's love is so pure, means her capacity to appreciate him is unlimited and ever increasing, right? And also his beauty and sweetness is similar to Radha's love. It has no room for expansion, and yet it continues expanding. Right? Like every day Krishna's more beautiful. Every moment he's more beautiful. Every moment he's more sweet. 142. Manmadurya radhara prema donhe hoda kari kshane kshane bade donhe keha nahi hari.
There is constant competition between sweetness and the bear. They will go on increasing, but neither knows defeat.
So what happens is Krishna is so sweet that Radharani loves him so much. And then by her loving him, his heart becomes melted and he becomes more sweet. And then because he's more sweet now, she loves him more. And because she loves him more, then he becomes more sweet. And because he's more sweet, she loves him more. And so it's just like upwardly spiraling to infinity. They both go on increasing. Amara madhurya nitya nava nava haya swaswa prema anurupa bhakti asvadaya.
People taste it according to their own respective love.
Yeah, so he's saying everybody tastes Krishna's personality, his sweetness of his personality in different ways according to their relationship, right? The sweetness that Mother Yashoda tastes is different from the sweetness that Radharani tastes, different from the sweetness that the cowherd boys taste. But in all cases, it's ever increasing and newer at every moment. Darpanadye deki yadi apana madhuri asvadite hayaloba asvadite nari.
If I see my sweetness, I'm tempted to taste it, but nevertheless,
Yeah. So sometimes it's said that Krishna had this desire when he was in Dwarka, and he just happened to pass a pillar that was very like a jeweled pillar that was polished and very shiny, and he looked at his face and he was just like he's just like, wow, I'm really beautiful. What is it like to like appreciate my beauty the way Radharani does? Yeah, so sometimes he sees his sweetness in the mirror, but he can't appreciate his own sweetness the way another person can. Vichara kariye yadi asvada upaya radhika swarupa haite tabe manadhaya.
For the station of Friday. Krishna's attractiveness is wonderful and unlimited. No one can know the end of it. Srimati Radharani alone can relish such extensiveness from her position in the Astraya category. The mirror of Srimati Radharani's transcendental love is perfectly clear, yet it appears clearer and clearest in the transcendental method of understanding Krishna. In the mirror of Radharani's heart, the transcendental features of Krishna appear increasingly new and fresh. In other words, the attraction of Krishna increases in proportion to the understanding of Srimati Radharani. Each tries to supersede the other. Neither wants to be defeated in increasing the intensity of love. Desiring to understand Radharani's attitude of increasing love, Lord Krishna appeared as Sri Chaitanya.
Yeah, so this is also true for us as we come to understand Krishna more, right? Get more glimpses of Krishna, and by Krishna's mercy, by his reciprocation, he reveals himself. And the more we understand Krishna, he says here that how does it say? Oh yeah, the attraction of Krishna increases in proportion to the understanding of Srimati Radharani. So the more we understand Krishna, the more we're going to be attracted to him, right? The more he's going to reveal his sweetness, and then we'll understand him a little better, and we'll be like, oh, Krishna's so sweet, right? Like now we're like, yeah, Krishna's cool, he's whatever, but we're not like, oh my God, Krishna. Yeah, we're just like, yeah, Krishna's cool. I like Krishna. I'll chant Hare Krishna. Go take darshan, take Mahaprasadam, all good, right? But then, as our understanding of Krishna increases, then that attraction also increases, becomes more intense, and then we just become like knocked out by Krishna's sweetness. Okay, text 146. This is a different meter. Apadi, you think it's Brahma Samhita? Aparikalata purvakas chamatkarakari spurati mama gariyan ishamadurya puraha ayam aham apihanta prekshyayam lubta chetaha sarabasam upabhoktum kamaye radhikeva. Close.
Which has never been experienced before and which hasn't wonder to all. Alas, I myself, my mind bewildered upon seeing this beauty, impetuously desired to enjoy it like Srimati Radharani. This text is from Lalita Madhava of Srila Rupa Goswami. It was spoken by Lord Krishna when he saw the beauty of his own reflection in a wet fountain in Dwarka.
So that comes from Lalita Madhava. Okay, text 147. Krishna Madhuryera Eka Swabhavika Bala Krishna Adi Nadanadi Karaye Chanchala. Divya?
Okay. The beauty of Krishna has one neutral strength. The beauty of Krishna has one natural strength. It thrills the heart of all men and women, beginning with Lord Krishna himself.
Krishna becomes thrilled by his own beauty. Everyone becomes thrilled by Krishna's beauty. 148. Shavane darshane akashe sarvamana apana asvadite Krishna karena yatana. All minds are attracted by hearing his sweet voice and flute, or by seeing his beauty. Even Lord Krishna himself makes efforts to taste that sweetness. 149. Ema duryamrita pana sadaye ikari Krishna shanti nahe Krishna padhe nirantare.
The Tatrata who all drink the nectar of the sweetness is never satisfied. Rather, that thirst increases constantly.
So, yeah, he's saying that when we drink the nectar of Krishna's sweetness, we're never like, all right, that's enough, I'm full. Or he's like, want more and more and more. The thirst is never satisfied. The more you drink, the more thirsty you become. 150. Atripta haya kare vidhira nindana avidagda vidhi bhala na jane shri jana. Good to go.
Prabhupada, being unsatisfied, begins to blaspheme Lord Brahma, saying that he does not know the art of creating wealth and is completely inexperienced.
Yeah, now we're gonna hear the gopis' complaints about Lord Brahma. 151. Koti nitra nahi dila sabe dila dui tahate nimesha Krishna ki deki bamuni.
He has given only two eyes, and even those eyes blink. How then shall I see the lovely face of Krishna?
Yeah, he should have given millions of eyes, and he gave us only two. And even those two are defective because they have to blink. And in that fraction of a second when we blink, then we can't see Krishna. So incompetent, this creator. 152. Atati yad bhavanani kananam tutir yugayate tvam apashyatam Kutila kuntalam shrimukam chate jada udikshatam pakshmakridvisham.
The gopis said, O Krishna, when you go to the forest during the day and we do not see your sweet face, which is surrounded by beautiful curling hair, half a second becomes as long as an entire age for us. And we consider the Creator who has put eyelids on the eyes we use for seeing you to be simply a fool. This
Yes.
verse is spoken by Gopis in Srimad Bhagavatam 10:31.
That's actually the Gopi Gita. We should have sang it like Atati yad bhavam anikanana tuti yugayatam tvam apashyatam kutila kuntalam shrimukam chate jada udikshatam pakshmakridvisham. That's better. Okay. Yeah. Text 153. Oh, what's the meter here? Okay, this is Brahma Samhita. Gopyascha Krishna Mupalabda Chirad Abhishtam Yat Prekshane Dishishu Pakshma Kritam Sapanti Digbiridi Kritamalam Parirabhya Sarvas Tad Bhavam Apurapi Nityam Yujam Durapam. Sneha, why don't you sit over here, then you'll be closer.
The gopis saw their beloved Krishna at Kurukshetra after a long separation. They secured and embraced him with their hearts through their eyes, and they attained a joy so intense that not even perfect yogis can attain it. The gopis cursed the Creator for creating eyelids that interfered with their vision.
So it was two different times when they had this complaint. One, when Krishna disappeared from the rasa dance and they were looking for him and they were just thinking, ugh. And later when they went to meet him at Kurukshetra during the solar eclipse, and then also they were complaining about his fault. Okay, text 154. Krishna valokana vina netra pala nahi ana ye jana Krishna deki se bhagyavan. Divya.
Okay. There is no consummation for the eyes other than the sight of Krishna. Whoever sees him is most fortunate indeed.
Okay. That's funny because is that a continuation? No. Oh, this is Krishna's Kaviraj. I was just wondering if it's Krishna speaking, saying this about himself. I think it's Krishna's Kaviraj saying. Okay, 155. I think this is Brahma Samhita meter. Akshan vatam balamidam na param vidama sakya pashun anuvisheshayator vayasyai vaktram vrajesha sutayor anuvenu jushtam yarva nipitam anurakta kataksha moksham. O friends, those eyes that see the beautiful faces of the sons of Maharaj Nanda are certainly fortunate. As these two sons enter the forest surrounded by their friends, driving the cows before them, they hold their flutes to their mouths and glance lovingly upon the residents of Vrindavan. For those who have eyes, we think there is no greater object of vision. The gopis say. Purport. Like the gopis, one can see Krishna continuously if one is fortunate enough. In the Brahma Samhita, it is said that sages whose eyes have been smeared with the ointment of pure love can see the form of Shyamasundar, Krishna, continuously in the centers of their hearts. This text from Srimad Bhagavatam 10.21.7 was sung by the gopis on the advent of the Sharat season. Okay, now we have another quote from Srimad Bhagavatam. Gopyastapa kim acharan yadamushya rupam lavanyasaramasamordvamananya siddham drigbhi pibantyanusavabhinavam durapam ekantadama yashasashriya aishvarasya.
Yes. The woman of Madura said, what austerities must the gopis have performed? With their eyes, they always bring the nectar, the form of Lord Krishna, which is the essence of loveliness and is not being equal or suppressed. That loveliness is the only abode of the beauty, fame, opulence. It is the self-perfect, even fresh and extremely rare. This text is from Srimad Bhagavatam, was spoken by the women of Madura when they saw Krishna and Balrama and their Ila king comes as great wrestlers, Mustika and Chanura.
So these are the very cultured, sophisticated women of Tura, city women. And they're appreciating the gopis. That these gopis, wow, they are really fortunate because they're always seeing Krishna. Because they live there in Vrindavan. It's a village, right? If you live in a village, you see that person every day. If you live in a city, sometimes, a long time can pass that you don't see the person because it's so big, so many people. But you live in a small village, everybody knows everyone. Everyone sees everyone every day. And so they're thinking that those gopis, they're so much more fortunate than us because they're always seeing Krishna every single day, from their babyhood to their childhood to their youthfulness, and drinking the nectar of that beautiful form, which is beauty is unsurpassed. 157. Apurva Madhuri Krishnera Apurva Tara Bala Yahara Shavane Manahaya Talamala.
The sweetness of Lord Krishna its strength is also unprecedented. Simply by one's hearing of such beauty, the mind becomes unsteady.
So we're just going on and on here about Krishna's beauty and his sweetness. How amazing it is, how he wants to experience it. Krishna Madhurye Krishna Upajaya Lobha Samyak Asvadite Nare Mane Rahe Kshoba.
Lord Krishna's own beauty attracts Lord Krishna himself. But because he cannot fully enjoy it, his mind remains full of sorrow.
So Krishna is very unhappy. Like he's frustrated by the first one, and now he's very sad here also because he's not able to really appreciate his own beauty and sweetness the way Radharani does. Poor little Krishna. Eta dvitiya hetura kahila vivarana dvitiya hetura eve shunaha lakshana.
This is a description of his second desire. Now please listen as I describe the third.
Okay, so if that wasn't enough to trouble him, there's one more thing. One more problem Krishna has. Atyantani gudhaye rasera siddhanta swarupa gosai matra janena ekanta. Divya?
Sorry, it's 160?
Yes.
Yes. The conclusion of rasa is extremely deep. Only Swarup Damodar knows much about it.
Thank you. Yeah, so he's about to go even deeper into this topic of Krishna's challenges. And he's saying, like, this is very deep. Like, nobody knows about these things. Everybody generally thinks God is great, God is perfect, God is complete, God is everything. And most people are just asking, Dear Krishna, please help me, please give me this, give me that, give me this, give me that. Nobody's thinking, what does Krishna need? What is Krishna hankering for? What is he missing in his life? But as we heard, Swarup Damodar is a very, very close associate of Radha and Krishna. He's either Lalita or Vishaka, and so he's a constant companion in Goloka, and so he knows exactly what's going on. He understands Krishna's feelings about this. So, yeah.
So when all Swarup Damodar, Lalita, Vishaka, they come to earth, so their expansion comes in, or they are here, and who is serving Radha Krishna there in Gaura Vrindavan?
Yeah, I mean, it's not that they're absent there. They just expand themselves.
Both of them.
Yeah, it's not that they're like, they just expand. Yeah, it's very mystical. 161. Yeba keha anya jane seho tanya haite Caitanya gosai niratenha atyanta marmayate.
Anyone else who claims to know it must have heard it from him, for he was the most intimate companion of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
Yeah, so he's saying no one else knows this. It's like sometimes there's a secret, right? And only one person knows. And you know that only one person knows. So if anybody else knows, you're like, all right, that person told them because no one else. I only told that one person. So Damodar was very generous because he knew this about Krishna, and he also shared it so that we could understand the personality of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. 162. Gopi Ganera Premera Rudha Bhava Nama Vishuddha Nirmala Prema Kabu Nahe Kama.
The love of gopis is called Bhava. It is pure and spotless. It is not at any time lust. As already explained, the position of the gopis in their loving dealings with Krishna is transcendental. Their emotion is called Rudabhava. Although it is apparently like mundane sex, one should not confuse it with mundane sexual love, for it is pure and unadulterated love of God.
Okay, so now before we get to the last thing, Krishna's Kaviraj is feeling like he really needs to clarify this love of Radharani and the gopis for Krishna. That it's nothing like what we experience here in terms of, you know, a young girl's infatuation with a young boy. 163. Premaiva Goparamanam Kama Ityagamat Pratam Ityuda Padayopyetam Vanchati Bhagavat Priyaha. Divya?
The pure love of the gopis has become celebrated by the name lust. The dear devotees of the Lord, headed by Sri Uddhava, desire to taste that love. In a verse, this is a verse from the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 1.2.285.
Yeah. So in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Rupa Goswami, he talks about the different relationships with Krishna. And so when he's doing an analysis of Sambandha, he says there's two kinds of, he says there's how does he say it? I can't remember the word for the first one, Sanskrit word for the first one, but it's like kind of like basic relationship with Krishna, and then something anuga, but I can't remember the word of the anuga, and then there's kama anuga. So then it's the word kama generally is translated as lust, right? When we talk about kama esha, krodha esha in the Bhagavad Gita, kama always means material desire or lust, sex desire, like that. So Rupa Goswami uses the word kam in relation to the gopis' love for Krishna, the gopis' relationship with Krishna. But he also explains there that it's pure. It just looks like lust. Yeah, it looks like lust, and it does look like lust, but it's not lust. And then he gives this example to talk about it. I mean, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explains it like this, that I thought this was a very useful way of explaining it. Because the gopis actually, when they speak about Krishna amongst themselves and how, you know, like we were just singing the other night, the Gopi Gita, and they say things like, you know, please put your hand on our breasts or something, or relieve our blazing desire, or please, you know, give us the nectar of your lips and all this, right? So they want Krishna to touch them and kiss them and all these things, right? They're not just like, can we massage your feet? Can we like fan you with the chamra? They're like, no, they want to have a different kind of relationship with him. So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says that it's because they know that that's how Krishna wants to relate with them. But they know it'll be more pleasing for Krishna to feel desired by them. And so they express their desire that way. Not that they don't desire, they do desire, but the reason that they express the desire like that is because it pleases Krishna, right? Like, yeah, I mean, everybody wants to be desired. Everyone wants to feel that someone is attracted to them, that somebody is, you know, head over heels in love with them. And, you know, it's kind of like, it makes you feel good. It makes attractive. And so, yeah, Krishna likes that all these women are, you know, basically dying for him. And it's not that they're not, but the reason that they are is because to please Krishna, right? Because if they were just totally aloof, like, all right, well, if you want to dance with us, we can do that. If you want us to, you know, read poetry to you, we can do that too. Whatever you want, we'll just do because we're your servants, right? It's not so satisfying. It's almost like, you know, just having a paid servant that, you know, cleans your floor, washes your dishes, kisses you, you know, it's like whatever you want them to do. It's like kind of weird, right? Actually. So the gopis, yeah, they're attracted to Krishna that way because he likes that relationship. He wants to enjoy, you know, all the intricacies and intimacies of that relationship. So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur gives this example that you go to someone's house and, you know, you show up uninvited, right? They didn't know you're coming. You just show up and you see your friend, and maybe somebody, you show up at a time that's like almost lunchtime, but you already ate, right? So you're not hungry at all. You're like totally satisfied. You could go without eating. It's not an issue, you know. But you come to know by speaking and talking to the person that they didn't eat lunch yet and they're probably really hungry. So then you say, oh, and you know what? It's been a really busy morning. I'm really hungry. Do you have anything to eat? And then the person's like, oh, yeah, let's see what we have in the kitchen. Then you go in and they're, oh, that looks good. That looks good. You know, like what the person's favorite foods are. And, you know, you're like, oh yeah, those look really fresh. That looks great. Let's make a meal. And so you make a meal together and then you sit down and, you know, you're the guest, so you let the person serve you, so you eat with gusto, and you're like, all right, you sit down, take something. And you know, you're doing all that just because you know your friend is hungry and wants to eat, and you want them to eat. And if they ask, are you hungry? And you say no, then they're not going to eat, right? Because they don't want to be a bad guest, a bad host, and eat in front of you. It would seem like rude to them. So yeah. So it's like, you know, the person is not hungry, but they act like they're hungry just to give the other person satisfaction of eating and eating with the friend, like enjoying that pastime of eating together with a friend. So in the same way, the gopis aren't lusty, but they present themselves as lustful because Krishna wants to engage in that relationship with them. And then from Krishna's point of view, Krishna's like, he's actually self-satisfied. But when he sees the gopis approaching him with those desires, right? Like they're all doing their Katyayani vrat to try to get him as their husband, then he marries them, right? Not because he needs so many wives, but because he wants to satisfy their desire to have that relationship with. So it's like neither of them are lustful. There's like no lust involved. It's just one trying to give pleasure to the other in a way that they feel will make them the most happy, and the other satisfying the desires of the other person to serve them in that way. You see, it's like both selfless, but if from the just uninformed observer, it looks like they're just lustful, both of them. Right? So anyways, we call it calm because that's what it looks like. Right? It has all the signs and symptoms of lust, but it's transcendental and it's selfless and it's pure devotional service. So Krishnadas Kaviraj is going to explain this a little further now. Text 164. Kama prema donhakara vibina lakshana loha arahema yaiche swarupe vilakshana.
Lust and love have different characteristics, just as iron and gold have different natures. One should try to discriminate between the sexual love and pure love, but they belong to different categories, with a gulf of difference between them. They are different from one another as an iron is from gold.
So now we're going to hear. Atmendriya Priti Vancha Tare Bali Kama Krishnendriya Priti Icha Dare Prema Nama.
The desire to gratify senses is thus. The desire to keep senses of Lord Krishna is love. Purport. The revealed scripture describes pure love as follows. If there is ample reason for the dissolution of a conjugal relationship and yet such a dissolution does not take place, such a relationship of intimate love is called pure. The predominated gopis were bound to Krishna in such pure love. For them, there was no question of sexual love based on sense gratification. Their only engagement in life was to see Krishna happy in all respects, regardless of their own personal interests. They dedicated their souls only for the satisfaction of the personality of Godhead Sri Krishna. There was not the slightest tinge of sexual love between the gopis and Krishna. The author of Sri Caitanya Caritamrita asserts with authority that sexual love is a matter of personal sense enjoyment. All the regulated principles in the Vedas pertaining to desires for popularity, fatherhood, wealth, and so on are different phases of sense gratification. Acts of sense gratification may be performed under the cover of public welfare, nationalism, altruism, ethical codes, biblical codes, health directives, spirit of action, bashfulness, tolerance, personal comfort, liberation from material bondage, progress, family affection, or fear of social or ostracism or legal punishment. But all these categories are different subdivisions of one substance, sense gratification. All such good acts are performed basically for one's own sense gratification, for no one can sacrifice his personal interest while discharging these much advertised moral and religious principles. But above all, this is a transcendental stage in which one feels himself to be only an eternal servitor of Krishna, the absolute personality of Godhead. All acts performed in this sense of servitude are called pure love of God because they are performed for the absolute sense gratification of Sri Krishna. However, any act performed for the purpose of enjoying its fruits or result is an act of sense gratification. Such actions are visible sometimes in gross and sometimes in subtle forms.
Okay, so this is very instructive, right? So the desire to gratify one's own senses is lust, and the desire to please the senses of Krishna is love. And Prabhupada is pointing out all these, usually when we think of sense gratification, we think, seeing beautiful things, hearing nice music, tasting delicious food, like that. And sense gratification that comes from sex and just kind of gross, sensual gratification. But he is actually focusing more on the subtle, right? Subtle gratifications that you want to be popular, you want to experience being a parent, you want to have money, you want to be seen as a do-gooder, right? You want people to, oh, such a philanthropist, they're very charitable, they're very religious, they yeah, or even let's say a woman wants to be famous for being shy, for being chaste, for being tolerant, or a desire for just being personal comfort or having a loving family, or yeah, fear of social ostracism means you don't want to be like rejected by your friends and your community. You don't want to be punished by the law. So all these things, you're a law-abiding citizen, you have a nice family, you're popular, you're like in your social group, you're very accepted and valued. You have all the qualities that, if you're a girl, it's like you're shy and you're sweet and you're, like that. If you're a man, then you're strong and you're generous and you're whatever, uh, qualities are ascribed to those roles that we may have. You're a good citizen of your country, you read the Bible, you're considered to be religious and moral. They're all sense gratification, right? Because they can all be done without a slight even tinge of Krishna consciousness, right? They're all just done because you want to be regarded like in high regard in society. So it's like, yeah, a subtle sense gratification of the mind, right? It's like inflating the ego. So Prabhupada rules all these out. So anything that we do that's motivated by any of those things, even those subtle things, even that I want to be seen as a good religious person, that's also lust. It's also kama. So it's very insidious. It practically pervades almost everything that we do. If we look at our motivations for doing things, it's usually one of those things, right? We want people to like us and whatever, all these things. So yeah, the reason that the gopis' love is called kama is because see, it's either kama or prema. And prema means love, right? So they all have love. The gopis have prema for Krishna. Yashoda has prema for Krishna. The cowherd boys have prema for Krishna. But the flavor of the gopis' prema for Krishna is exceptional, right? The way I heard this described is that like why is the gopis, because when Rupa Goswami talks about all the other relationships with Krishna, they're all kind of lumped in. They're like this, they all have love for Krishna. But then the gopis are in another category, right? The Kamanugis is the gopis. And I was like, but how is it that they all have a relationship? Why aren't the gopis in the same, just spoken about in the same section as having a loving relationship with Krishna? Why are they put in another section under another heading of kama? And so my teacher said that because their love for Krishna is so exceptional, like it stands out and it needs to be spoken about separately because the quality of their love is so intense, it's like in another category. Like their love is in another category. So when we talk about their love, we have to speak about them in a different category. So all the Brajavasis have love for Krishna, but the gopis' love is something else, right? It's something like next level. So she said it's in the same way that if there's a procession, right? There's like a festival and there's a procession, then there, you know, like let's say in Puri for Rath Yatra, there's like millions of people in that procession, right? But then let's say Narendra Modi's in the procession, right? So it's like, yeah, there was a procession with millions of people and Narendra Modi was there, right? You're not going to talk about all the other people that were there, but you're going to specifically mention him in another category, like in another sentence, right? He's not just part of everyone. He is part of everyone who is there, but he's exceptional in being there, right? So
We name him.
yeah, yeah. So it's like all these devotees have love for Krishna, and the gopis have this exceptional love for Krishna, like that. So that they're special. That's why they're kind of singled out that way. And because they need a heading under which their love is mentioned, then the heading that's given is kama, because that's what it looks like. That's the flavor of it. But it's actually, see, in this world, most people, they have kama, which they mask as prema, right? They're actually lustful, but they say, I love you.
Yes.
But what they really want to do is enjoy you, right? They're not thinking of your pleasure. They're thinking of the pleasure they're going to get out of you. So that's this world. But the gopis, they have prema, which is masked as kama, right? So they approach Krishna, oh, we really want to dance with you and kiss you and hug you and enjoy your association. And where are you? You should be here with us to, you know, make us happy. So they present themselves like that to Krishna, but actually all they want to do is make Krishna happy. They have no consideration for their own happiness. So it's the exact opposite of what we have in this world. Very interesting, right? Okay, maybe we can read the.
I don't know where on this, but I also like as you said that gopis masked with their pure love with lust. They said that Radharani is so beautiful that they mask her with the makeup so that no one paints.
They cover up her beauty with their makeup. The makeup makes.
They make Radha to wear this because if Krishna sees the beauty of the poor of Radharani, he's gonna paint. So to hide that beauty, they put a nut on her nose.
Yeah, it's funny. Okay, 166. Kamera tatpara nija samboga kevala Krishna sukha tatparya matra premata prabala.
The object of love is one's senses. But love caters to the enjoyment of Lord Krishna, and thus it is very powerful.
Okay, maybe we'll do one. Loka dharma, Veda dharma, Deha dharma karma, Lajja daya Deha sukha, Atma sukha marma, Dustya ja arya pata nija parijana, Swajane karaya yata tadana bhatsana, Sarva tyaga kare kare Krishnera bhajana, Krishna sukha hetu kare prema sevana. Neha?
Social customs, scriptural injections, bodily demands, fruitive actions, shyness, patience, bodily pleasures, sense gratification, and the path of Varnashrama Dharma, which is difficult to give up, the gopis have forsaken all this, as well as their own relatives and their punishment and scolding for the sake of serving Lord Krishna. They render loving or service to him for the sake of his enjoyment.
It's interesting because a few of these things are, I mean, if not all of these things are things that Prabhupada mentioned in that purport, right? As the subtle sense gratification. And he's saying Krishna's Kaviraj is proving that the gopis' love for Krishna is pure because all of these, even subtle forms of sense gratification, they gave up, right? Because they broke all the social customs by, having basically an extramarital affair. The scriptural injunctions, totally sinful what they're doing, right? From a mundane point of view. Bodily demands, yeah, they just leave home without eating and they're up all night without sleeping or, all these things. They don't even take care of themselves properly. They're not even properly dressed and ornamented when they go out. Fruitive actions, they're getting nothing from this, you know, they're not earning any money, they're not getting any assets, they're not taking home any gifts after being with Krishna. Shyness, they have to give up their shyness and just go into the forest, you know, like warrior women trudging through the forest in the middle of the night and approaching, confronting Krishna, like that. Patience, yeah, they have to give up their patience because as soon as Krishna plays his flute, that's it. No patience considered. They become totally impatient and they just have to go. Their own bodily pleasures. Yeah, because at home they can just be comfortable, you know, but they're like going through that forest, stepping on thorns, getting all scratched up, and self-gratification, a similar thing. The path of Varnashram Dharma, yeah, all the codes for Sri Dharma and, you know, what you're supposed to do and according to Vedic culture. And these are things that people get very attached to, right? Like people will say, oh, I can't do that because, you know, social custom or etiquette or Varnashram or scriptural injunction or whatever, different reasons, or I'm too shy, or I'm not going to earn anything from it, or let's just be patient and wait and see, right? So these are not doing something, but the gopis are like, no, we're giving all these up. And they even give up their own families, right? And some of those gopis, they even have babies and they just like leave the babies behind. Sometimes babies are taking milk and Krishna plays his flute. They're just like, choom, out the door. Out the door. And they're thinking if they get caught being with Krishna, they're going to get punished. They're probably going to get locked in the house and chastised by their husbands and mothers-in-laws and sisters-in-laws, and their reputation is gone, you know. But they don't care. They give up everything for serving Krishna. Why? Only for the sake of his enjoyment. So, very special. Okay, we should stop here. We did a lot of verses today. What did we start on? 120 something. We did like
Yeah.
50 verses today. Wow. Hare Krishna. Okay, let's see if anybody's out here. Oh, just a couple of Hare Krishna Madajis. We did a lot of verses today. Okay, thank you all very much for coming. Sri Caitanya Charitamrita ki